Have you ever noticed how your body changes the moment you pull into their driveway? Your jaw tightens, your shoulders rise, your breathing becomes shallow. You have spent weeks, maybe months, living as a capable, independent adult. You make decisions, you handle crises, you build a life of your own. Yet, as you stand in front of that familiar door, your hand hovering over the bell, all of that hard-earned confidence seems to evaporate. In a single heartbeat, you are no longer the adult you fought so hard to become. You feel like a child again, bracing for the subtle remarks, the heavy sighs, and the familiar judgment. What if the tension you feel is not just anxiety about the visit? What if it is the painful friction between the person you actually are and the outdated version of you they refuse to let go of? Most of your suffering in these moments is not caused by what is happening right now. It is caused by how tightly you are holding on to the hope that this time will be different. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that a profound source of human suffering is attachment, specifically the attachment to how we wish others would see us. We walk into the homes of critical parents carrying an invisible, heavy burden. We carry the deep, desperate hope that this time they will finally recognize our growth, that this time the criticism will stop and the acceptance will begin. But Buddhism also reminds us of impermanence, the truth that everything is in constant motion. You are a flowing river, constantly evolving, shifting, and growing. A critical family dynamic, however, often acts like a rigid stone. It attempts to freeze you in time. They hold you to a version of yourself that no longer exists. They remember your early mistakes, your childhood fears, your past uncertainties, and they speak to you as if that ghost is standing right in front of them. Imagine trying to pour a rushing river into a small, fragile teacup. The river is vast, deep, and alive. The teacup is rigid, defined entirely by its small limits. When the water spills over the sides, it is not because the river is flawed, broken, or too much. It is simply because the teacup cannot hold it. For years, you have been trying to fit the vastness of your adult life, your unique thoughts, your quiet victories, your healing, into the small, rigid expectations your family built for you decades ago. And every time you visit, you feel the painful, messy spill of not fitting into their cup. Think about your own life. How much energy do you spend preparing for these encounters? Rehearsing defenses in your mind, building mental walls against comments about your choices, your career, or your relationships. You build heavy armor, but armor is exhausting to wear. And the tragedy of wearing armor is that it forces you to live as if you are always at war. Stop, breathe. Let that sink in. You do not have to go to war. The next time you feel that familiar tightening in your chest at the front door, pause. Observe the physical sensation without judgment. Notice the fear rising, but do not let it become your identity. You are experiencing a memory in the present moment. You are feeling the echo of an old dynamic, not the truth of who you are today. You are not powerless. You do not have to shrink the river to save the teacup. But stepping into this freedom requires you to face the very thing that keeps pulling you backward, because beneath every reaction is a fear waiting to be understood. Why does a single look or a passing comment from them have the power to unravel years of your personal growth? You can handle a demanding career. You can navigate the complexities of your own friendships and relationships. You can build a safe, peaceful home for yourself. Yet, one heavy sigh at the family dinner table, one subtle questioning of your choices, and suddenly, you feel 15 years old again. The confidence you walked in with vanishes, your throat tightens, you either shrink into absolute silence or you rise into desperate, defensive anger. Here is the truth few people want to face. The person sitting in that room, feeling defensive and small, is not the adult you are today. It is the ghost of the child you used to be. In Buddhist thought, there is a profound understanding that the self is not a fixed, permanent object. You are a continuous process of becoming. You are not a statue. You are a flowing stream. You are entirely different from the person you were a decade ago. You have healed. You have learned. You have outgrown old fears and discovered your own strength. But a critical family environment often refuses to recognize this flowing nature of reality. It clings to the illusion of permanence. It locks you into a specific, historic role, the quiet one, the difficult one, the fragile one, the one who always needs correction. When they speak to you, they are not interacting with the living, breathing adult in front of them. They are interacting with a photograph, an old, faded image of a child they understood how to manage and control. Imagine a mighty tree that has spent years growing tall. It has weathered fierce storms, its roots have dug deep into the earth, and its branches stretch wide to hold the light. Now imagine someone standing at the base of this tree, staring only at the soil, angry that the small, dependent seed is no longer there. They keep watering the empty dirt. They keep speaking to the seed. They are so fixated on the memory of what you were done that they are completely blind to the strength of what you have become. When you visit a critical parent, you feel the painful tension, them speaking to the seed, while you are trying to exist as the tree. To survive the visit, you unconsciously try to bend your branches. You try to shrink yourself back into the dirt just to make them comfortable. You hide your true opinions. You downplay your peace. You revert to old, anxious habits. And this is why you leave their house feeling so completely emotionally exhausted. Shrinking a tree back into a seed takes an agonizing amount of energy. Ask yourself, right now, when you sit in their living room, who is actually reacting? Is it the secure adult who knows their own worth, or is it the child who is still secretly waiting to be validated? You do not need to perform the past to make someone else comfortable in the present. The next time you feel yourself slipping backward in time, stop, breathe, silently acknowledge that younger version of yourself. You can gently say to that ghost in your mind, "You are safe now. I am the adult here." You do not have to fight this battle anymore. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You can share a space with their history without returning to their reality. But letting go of the past is only the beginning, because beneath the ghost of the child is a chain that is much harder to break. And this is where the next truth begins. 3. The illusion of earning their approval. What if you are running a race that has no finish line? Here is the truth few people want to face. You are still trying to win a game that was rigged from the very beginning. Think about your own life. Think about the silent negotiations you make before you see them. You rehearse the good news you will share. You prepare your achievements, a promotion at work, a new milestone, a healthy relationship, and you carry these things to them like fragile gifts. You place them on the table, secretly hoping that this time they will look at you with unqualified pride. You wait for the words that say you are finally enough. But the words do not come. Instead, there is a critique, a comparison to someone else, a reminder of what you have not yet done. The gift is pushed aside, and you are left feeling empty once again. Buddhism teaches us that the deepest root of our suffering is craving. We often think of craving as a desire for wealth or physical objects, but the most destructive craving of all is the desperate, silent hunger for external validation. We attach our inner peace to the impossible condition that someone else must understand our worth first. We remain trapped in a painful cycle, continuously chasing an approval that was never theirs to give. Imagine carrying heavy buckets of water across a vast, scorching desert. You pour the water into a deep stone well, waiting to see it fill. You walk back and forth, exhausting yourself, sweating under the heavy sun, bringing bucket after bucket. You tell yourself, just one more trip, and the well will finally be full. Then I can rest. But years go by, and the water never rises. The suffering is not because you are bringing the wrong water. The suffering exists because the well has no bottom. A critical parent's inability to praise you is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It is the bottomless well of their own unspoken dissatisfaction. You are pouring your precious energy, your successes, and your love into a structure that simply cannot hold it. Their criticism is their own internal weather. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Ask yourself, how many more buckets are you willing to carry? How many more years will you spend trying to satisfy a hunger that belongs to them, not you? What are you afraid will happen if you simply stop trying to convince them of your value? You do not need to earn your own peace. You do not need their permission to feel proud of the life you have built. The next time you catch yourself over-explaining your choices or trying to prove your worth during a visit, pause, breathe, observe the urge without following it. Then, gently, let it pass. Stop trying to force the door open. Let them have their misunderstanding. Do your part, show up with simple respect, then release the outcome entirely. You do not have to carry the water anymore, because true peace is not found when the well is finally full. Peace is found the moment you realize the well is broken and you decide to set the bucket down. But setting that bucket down requires you to fundamentally change how you watch the storm. And this is where the next truth begins. 4. The Buddhist art of becoming the observer. What if the most powerful response to a painful comment is no response at all? Here is the truth you must embrace. You do not have to catch every emotional hook that is thrown at you. Think about what happens when a critical parent makes a passive-aggressive remark or questions a decision you have made. Your immediate instinct is to defend yourself. You jump back into the ring. You explain, you justify, you argue. And when the visit is over, the argument does not stop. You replay the conversation for days. You obsess over what you should have said. You let their words echo in your quiet, safe home long after you have left their house. Every time you instantly engage with their criticism, you are surrendering your inner peace. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the profound practice of mindful observation. It reminds us that we are not the thoughts that enter our minds, and we are certainly not the harsh words spoken by others. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the power of the pause, the space between an event happening and your reaction to it. The goal is not to stop the world from being difficult. The goal is to learn how to observe the difficulty without letting it consume you. Imagine a deep, ancient lake, its surface perfectly calm, reflecting the vastness of the open sky. Suddenly, someone standing on the edge throws a heavy stone into the water. The stone breaks the surface, violent ripples tear across the water, and the quiet reflection is shattered. But what does the lake do? Does the lake rise up to fight the stone? Does it struggle against the ripples? No, the lake simply does nothing. It allows the ripples to happen. It allows the heavy stone to sink all the way to the dark bottom. And in the stillness that naturally follows, the water settles and the beautiful reflection of the sky returns. In your family dynamic, the criticism is simply a stone, the heavy sigh, the judgment about your life choices, the subtle comparison to someone else. They are just pebbles being tossed into your water. When you react with instant anger, when you desperately over-explain yourself, you are actively splashing the water. You are keeping the surface chaotic. You are destroying your own reflection to fight a stone that was already sinking. Ask yourself right now, when they throw a stone, do you let it sink quietly, or do you thrash in the water to prove that it hurts? Is this endless defense bringing you peace, or is it feeding your exhaustion? The next time you are sitting in that familiar room and the criticism arrives, do not rush to speak. Pause, breathe. Observe the words entering the space, but do not invite them to sit down inside your mind. Let the storm pass without becoming the storm. Do your part, stay grounded, then release the need to fight back. You can look at their judgment and quietly realize, that is their weather. It is not my sky, because peace is not about forcing the stones to stop falling. It is about becoming so deep that a single stone can no longer disturb you. But building this kind of depth requires you to let go of a deeply painful hope. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. Releasing the need to be understood. What if the most exhausting thing you carry is the hope that they will finally see your truth? Here is a painful reality that we spend our entire adult lives trying to avoid. You can find the perfect words. You can speak with absolute calmness. You can lay out your feelings logically, beautifully, and gently, and they still might not understand you. Think about the endless mental letters you write to them in your head, the conversations you rehearse while driving. You believe that if you can just explain your perspective clearly enough, a light bulb will go off. They will apologize. They will see the adult you have become. They will finally respect your choices, your career, or the life you have built. You are trapped in the agonizing belief that your peace depends on their comprehension. In Buddhist thought, this is one of the most subtle and dangerous forms of attachment. We attach our inner stability to the shifting sands of another person's mind. Buddhism reminds us that we cannot control the consciousness of another being. Everyone views the world through the lens of their own past, their own unresolved pain, and their own limitations. When we demand that someone understands us before we can feel whole, we are handing them the key to our own freedom. Imagine standing in front of a heavy iron door. Behind this door is the acceptance and understanding you have wanted since you were a child. You hold a massive ring of keys in your hands. For years, you have stood at this door in the cold, trying every single key. You try the key of anger. You try the key of overachieving. You try the key of perfect obedience. You try the key of desperate, tearful explanation. You exhaust yourself, bleeding from the effort, convinced that you just have not found the right key yet. But what if the door is not locked from the outside? What if it is bolted from the inside? They are the only ones who can open that door. And for reasons that belong entirely to their own journey, they are choosing to keep it shut. Your exhaustion does not come from using the wrong key. Your exhaustion comes from refusing to accept that the door is closed. When you sit at the family dinner table and they misinterpret your life choices or belittle your dreams, you instinctively reach for your keys. You try to explain yourself. You try to force them to see your reality. Ask yourself, how many years have you stood in the cold and the cold, rattling a door that will not open? What would happen if you simply set the keys down and walked away? Is the desperate need to be right bringing you peace, or is it keeping you trapped at their doorstep? You do not need to be understood by them to be real. Your healing is valid even if they call it foolish. Your peace is real even if they view it as coldness. The next time you feel the desperate urge to explain your heart to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you, stop, breathe. Observe the thought without following it. You do not have to translate your soul for someone who refuses to learn the language. Let them have their version of you. It is just a story they tell themselves. It is not the truth of who you are. But walking away from that door requires you to draw a line in the sand. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The boundary of inner peace. What if you have been taught that protecting your peace is a form of betrayal? Here is a painful truth that causes deep, hidden guilt. You have likely been conditioned to believe that being a good family member means being endlessly available for their emotional weather. You think that if you say no, if you quietly leave the room, or if you refuse to participate in an argument, you are being unkind or disrespectful. So, you sit there, you absorb the harsh comments, you endure the visits, counting the minutes until you can finally leave. You let them drain your energy, secretly believing that your quiet suffering is the price you must pay for family harmony. You confuse self-sacrifice with love. But Buddhism reminds us of a different path. Buddhist wisdom teaches the practice of deep, limitless compassion, but it also teaches that true compassion cannot exist without wisdom. Compassion does not mean offering yourself as an eternal target for someone else's unhealed pain. In Buddhist thought, creating space is not an act of anger or rejection, it is an act of profound clarity. It is the deep understanding that you cannot bring peace to a room if your own spirit is being continuously destroyed. Imagine a strong, beautifully crafted boat moving through rough, dark water. The ocean around it is entirely chaotic. The waves crash aggressively against the sides, the wind howls, and the heavy rain beats down. But as long as the boat's hull remains sealed, the water stays on the outside. The boat floats safely. It does not try to fight the vast ocean. It does not try to command the violent storm to stop. It simply maintains its own quiet integrity. But if the boat decides to carve a hole in its side just to welcome the ocean in, it will quickly sink to the bottom. For years, you have been carving holes in your own boat. Every time you sacrifice your peace to keep them comfortable, every time you absorb their toxic remarks without setting a limit, you are letting the heavy water inside. A boundary is not a weapon you use to punish your parents. A boundary is simply the hull of your boat. It is the quiet, firm decision that says, "You can storm all around me, but I will not let your chaos sink me." You can still care for them. You can still sit in their living room, but you do not have to let their water flood your internal space. Ask yourself right now, are you sinking your own ship just to make them feel powerful in the storm? What are you truly afraid will happen if you finally seal the hull? You are allowed to protect your own light. You are allowed to decide what you will carry and what you will leave behind. The next time the energy in the room becomes too heavy, or a familiar line is crossed, pause. Breathe. You do not need to announce your boundary with a loud, defensive speech. Simply excuse yourself. Step outside, change the subject, or end the visit quietly. Do your part, protect your peace, and release their reaction entirely. Stop trying to calm their ocean and focus only on your boat. Because you can only offer true presence to the world when your own heart is not drowning. But building this quiet boundary eventually brings you face to face with the hardest emotional reality of all. And this is where the next truth begins. 7. Forgiving their limitations. What if the person you are so desperate to change is already giving you the absolute best they are capable of? Here is a profound and painful truth. You look at your critical parent and you see choices. You think, if they really loved me, they would stop being so harsh, they would be softer, they would finally celebrate my life. You believe they are actively choosing to withhold their warmth and their approval, and because you believe they are holding it back, you feel rejected. You feel like you are not enough to make them change. You spend your visits trying to become so perfect, so successful, and so agreeable that they will finally unlock their heart and give you the peace you deserve. But Buddhism teaches us to see reality exactly as it is, stripped of our personal expectations. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the understanding of human limitation not as a lack of intelligence, but as a lack of emotional and spiritual sight. People can only meet you as deeply as they have met themselves. If a parent is constantly critical, rigid, and judgmental, it is because that is the exact landscape of their own internal world. They are not withholding a beautiful, peaceful garden from you. They are simply handing you the thorns they have lived with their entire lives. Imagine a bird that has lived its entire existence inside a small, heavy cage. It has never felt the wind, it has never flown across the open water, and it has never touched the high clouds. Now imagine that you are a bird standing outside that cage, Having just returned from flying across the vast, open sky, you try to tell the caged bird about the endless blue above. But the caged bird becomes angry. It tells you that the sky is foolish. It criticizes your wings. It tells you that you are wrong for leaving the safety of the iron bars. When you hear this, you feel heartbroken. You feel unseen. But the caged bird is not attacking you out of malice. It is speaking from the absolute edge of its own terrified reality. It cannot understand your flight because it has never known freedom. In your family dynamic, your growth is the open sky. Your peace, your healing, and your independence are terrifying to someone who has only ever known the cage of control and criticism. When they judge your life, they are not actually evaluating your worth. They are simply echoing the metal bars of their own limitations. You keep asking them to join you in the open sky, and you feel crushed when they refuse. But they cannot give you the sky because they do not have it. Ask yourself, think about your own life. Are you breaking your own heart by expecting a caged bird to teach you how to fly? What would happen if you finally accepted that they may never understand the heights you have reached? Is this expectation bringing you peace, or is it feeding your sorrow? The next time they offer you a sharp criticism instead of the warmth you hoped for, stop, breathe, look at them, not as a powerful judge of your life, but as a being struggling within their own limits. Let the disappointment rise without making it your identity. You can feel sorrow for their small world without shrinking your own to match it. Do your part, offer quiet compassion, then release the need for them to be different. Because true forgiveness is not about pretending the pain never happened. It is about accepting that they have reached the absolute boundary of their own evolution. But recognizing their limits is only half of the journey. The true freedom comes from realizing the vastness of your own space. And this is where the next truth begins. 8. Building a self larger than their shadow. What if you have spent your entire adult life living as a reaction rather than a creation? Here is a quiet, difficult truth. You think you are free because your life looks entirely different from theirs. You think you are independent because you do the exact opposite of what your critical parents wanted. They were chaotic, so you are obsessively, rigidly organized. They were emotionally distant, so you exhaust yourself trying to fix everyone around you. They said you would not amount to much, so you burn yourself out chasing endless achievements just to prove them wrong. You believe you have escaped them. But if every major choice you make is secretly an attempt to prove them wrong, they are still holding the pen. They are still writing your story. You are not free. You are simply wearing the heavy, exhausting armor of rebellion. In Buddhist thought, we learn the profound difference between reacting and truly awakening. Buddhism teaches that true freedom is never found by endlessly fighting against what we fear. It is found by releasing our attachment to the struggle entirely. As long as your core identity is built on defying their criticism, you remain energetically chained to it. One of the deepest lessons of non-attachment is realizing that your existence does not need to be a defense argument. You do not have to build your house solely to prove that you can withstand their storm. Imagine a small, quiet seed that sprouts at the very base of a massive, cold, rocky mountain. The mountain casts a heavy, dark shadow that completely blocks the morning light. To survive, the small tree must grow sideways. It bends its trunk. It twists its branches at sharp, painful angles, reaching desperately just to catch a tiny sliver of sunshine. Its entire shape is dictated by the obstacle standing next to it. Years later, the tree is carefully moved to a beautiful, vast, open meadow. There is no mountain. There is no heavy shadow. The sun shines freely from every single direction. But for a very long time, the tree continues to grow sideways. It stays twisted, straining and bending, trapped by the memory of a mountain that is no longer there. Think about your own life. You have left their house. You have built a safe reality of your own. You go to your own job. You return to your own home. You rest in your quiet space. The physical mountain is miles away, yet, mentally, before every visit and long after you leave, you are still twisting your branches. You still second-guess your worth. You still try to shrink or over-explain yourself. You are still bracing for a shadow that can no longer reach you unless you let it. Ask yourself right now, how much of your current identity is just a twisted branch trying to escape a shadow from the past? What would happen if you finally realized the sun is shining on you from every direction? Is your current path bringing you true peace, or is it just a quiet, endless rebellion against their criticism? The next time you feel the urge to overachieve just to prove your worth, or shrink to avoid their gaze, pause, breathe. Observe the motivation behind your actions without judging it. You do not have to grow sideways anymore. You are safe in the open meadow. Let the old, defensive shape soften. Do your part, stand tall in your own light, and release the memory of the mountain. Because your identity is no longer defined by the darkness you survived. It is defined by the vastness of the space you now inhabit. But to fully step into that vastness, you must learn how to cross their threshold without leaving yourself behind. And this is where the final truth begins. 9. Walking through the door as a free adult. Imagine yourself back in that driveway. You pull up, and the engine goes silent. Your body, shaped by years of conditioning, instinctively tightens. You feel the familiar phantom pressure of the door, the anticipation of the criticism, the old weight of the child waiting to be seen. But this time, something is fundamentally different. You are no longer coming to this house to ask for your own permission to exist. You are no longer a visitor who has traveled back in time to fix a broken past. You are a present-moment adult, fully grounded in your own reality, choosing to step across a threshold. This is the ultimate fruit of the work you have done. It is not that the parent has changed. It is not that the criticisms have magically vanished into thin air. It is that you have finally stopped believing the story that you are the child in that living room. You have realized that their opinion of you is just a story they tell themselves, a story that belongs to them, not you. You have learned that your worth is not a fragile thing that can be damaged by a sigh, a frown, or a sharp word. Your worth is the steady, unshakable river that flows deep beneath the surface of the temporary weather. Throughout this journey, we have explored the painful, beautiful process of becoming who you truly are. You have learned that the tightness in your chest at the front door is not a sign of your failure, but a signal that you are choosing to wake up. You have learned that you do not need to earn your own peace. You have learned that the most powerful thing you can do is not to fight back, but to become the calm, observant sky that allows the clouds of conflict to pass without becoming attached to them. You have built a self that is larger than their shadow. You are no longer the twisted branch straining to reach for a light they refuse to provide. You are the tree that has found its own light from within. As you stand there, hand reaching for the doorbell, you can hold a new intention in your heart. You are not going inside to win a debate. You are not going inside to finally prove your value. You are simply going inside to be present. You are going inside to share a cup of tea, to offer simple kindness, to witness their humanity without sacrificing your own. You are going inside as a guest in their space, knowing that you carry your own home, your own sanctuary, and your own dignity wherever you go. If you feel the old fear rising, let it rise. Do not push it away. Look at it, acknowledge it, and then choose to stay rooted in your adult self. You can handle the discomfort. You can sit through the awkward silences. You can hear the critical words and simply let them land on the floor like pebbles. You do not have to pick them up. You do not have to carry them back out to your car. You can leave the pebbles exactly where they fell. Think about how far you have traveled. You have moved from the cage of needing approval to the open, vast freedom of self-acceptance. That is a victory that no one can take away from you. That is the true path of peace. If these words have brought a moment of clarity to your heart today, please share this video with someone who may need to find their own peace, or who is currently standing at their own front door, wondering how to let go. You do not have to shrink yourself to fit their version of you anymore. You have outgrown their expectations, and in doing so, you have finally met yourself. The storm will pass. You are already home.